Hello and welcome to How to Write a Short Film with me, Anthony Hett, the film coach. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about writing a synopsis. What is a synopsis? How do you write one? And why are they important? In order to discuss writing a synopsis, I'm also going to be talking about a logline, a treatment, and an outline. I'm going to start by looking at outlines because they're a little bit different from the other three. An outline is basically for your eyes only. So this is a description of your film, but it could be just a list of notes, some bullet points, a beat sheet with the important moments in the film. It could be a list of scenes with a little description of what's in each scene. The purpose of this outline is to help you when you're writing your script. So you can look at your outline and make sure that when you're writing your script, you're keeping to the story that you were originally trying to tell. Or if you realise that you're diverting away from that story a little bit, that you decide that that is a good decision to make, that you're not kind of doing that just by accident, that you're making that decision that I'm moving away from the story a little bit, but I like where the story is going. So that's an outline. When you're writing a logline, a synopsis and a treatment, they are a short but detailed description of your film, which is designed to try and intrigue somebody and get them interested in reading your script. So a logline is trying to explain everything about your film in as few amount of words as possible. So I would recommend you keep it to one sentence, maybe 2 sentences at a push, but I would recommend try and write a logline, 1 sentence and no more than 25 to 30 words. To give you a good example of a logline, which has been actually described as a perfect logline, I'm not going to tell you the film, it's a very famous film, I'm sure you'll know from the logline. This logline, I think I counted, was 34 words long. And it explains everything about the film in this one rather long but one sentence. A police chief with a phobia for open water battles a gigantic shark with an appetite for swimmers and boat captains, in spite of a greedy town council who demands that the beach stay open. So obviously that is the logline for Jaws. And it tells you who the main character is, what their motivations are, what they're trying to achieve, and the challenges they're coming up against with both the shark and the town council. So it explains everything in that one sentence, and that's what you're trying to achieve. You're trying to give the logline to somebody, and they know what your film is going to be about. Now, a synopsis is an extended version of the logline. So you're looking at maybe 1 or 2 paragraphs, around about half a page. In terms of word count, I'd say around about 250 words. Really detailed but still short description of your film, putting as much information as you can into those 250 words. A treatment is then an extension of that synopsis. So you're expanding it again to maybe around about 750 words, 1,000 words maybe. And you're putting in as much information as you can into that amount of words to explain what is your film about, what happens in that film and why. Now, while you're writing, particularly the synopsis and the treatment, the way that you should be writing it is like you're writing a short story. So a little example could be, David picked up his dog and started to walk quickly. He was well aware of the man hiding behind the tree. So you're telling it like it's a story, it's prose. You're not writing dialogue or bullet points, notes. You're writing it as though it is a story. And you're putting everything into it. You're putting all the information in there. For example, if your film has a really great twist at the end, that the audience, you've set it up but the audience don't see it coming, you don't leave that out of the synopsis. It's not writing a synopsis so that you're piquing the interest of the reader and then they need to read the script to find out the ending. You put the ending, you spoil it in the synopsis. There is a different types of synopsis. A really short synopsis, for example, I'm sure I'll talk about this in future videos, but if you get selected for a film festival, they'll ask for a short synopsis. You don't want to ruin the ending in that, because the audience are going to read that short synopsis or have the opportunity to before they watch your film. But in this type of synopsis that I'm talking about today, that we're going to be sending to potentially to funders or to agents and producers, etc., then you want to spoil that ending. You tell them exactly what happens in that film, how it starts, what happens in the middle, and what happens at the end, as though you're writing a short story. And why are they important? As I kind of mentioned just then, who are going to read your log lines, your synopses, and your treatments? When you're applying for funding, or you're trying to get onto a writer's scheme, for example, then there's going to be online application forms, and they're all fairly standard. They're going to want to know about your idea, the script that you're sending in, so they will ask you for a log line, a synopsis, and a treatment. And they're normally a similar length, 250 words around about for a synopsis, 750 words for a treatment, but they can vary. They can ask you for a 500 word synopsis. In that case, if you've got 250 words and 750 words, you just try and find that, you edit them up or down to try and get to that 500 words, but you've got it ready. A lot of the questions on these application forms are fairly standard, and you fill out one, you can then use those answers and maybe edit them a little bit to be more specific to that application form, but you can do like a copy and paste job. So have your log line, your synopsis, and your treatment ready, so that when you're applying for different things, you can just copy and paste and maybe edit them slightly for the word count, or to make them more specific to that fund or to that scheme. Also, you might be sending them to agents, producers, production companies. Now in this case, they might be receiving a high volume of script, and they might not be able to read all of those scripts. So they're going to take your synopsis, your treatment, they're going to read them, and they're going to decide if they're going to read your script. And even if they do decide to read your script, remember that they might only read 10 pages, 20 pages, and if they're not hooked and they're not gripped, then they're not going to read the rest of the script. That's talking about a feature film. If it's a short film, you might only have 5 or 10 pages. They're still going to want to see a short synopsis, so they know what this film is about, and they can choose whether they're going to, how much time and resources they're going to put into reading your script. So it is important to have your synopsis and your treatment. In terms of length, like I said, one sentence for a log line, around about half a page or so for a synopsis. For a treatment, what I do is I have 2 pages, so I fit the log line, the synopsis, and the treatment all onto 2 pages. So that leaves about a page and a half for the treatment. You can go 2 pages, 3 pages for the treatment. If you're writing a feature film, it might be 10 pages, 15, 20 pages. I know that when James Cameron was trying to sell and trying to get the Terminator funded, he wrote a treatment which you can find online, which is 42 pages long. I'm not going to tell James Cameron, whether he's right or wrong. I think that's quite long. But we're talking about short films, so try and keep it to maybe a page, page and a half. Some people, they ask for a 1-pager, so that's just explaining the film in 1 page. And like I said, the application forms might restrict you to 250 words, 750 words, that kind of word count. So those are my thoughts around writing a synopsis, what a synopsis is, how you write one, and why they're important. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, give it a like. If you haven't watched my previous videos, then maybe go back and give them a watch as well. And if you know other filmmakers or people that are interested, that might want to learn more about making films and writing scripts, then share these videos with them as well. If you have any thoughts about how to write the perfect synopsis, treatment or logline, stick it down in the comments below. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, then please do subscribe and you'll get notifications for my upcoming videos. My next video will be on the topic of the different elements of a screenplay. And there's also further details, and you can read my blog on my website, www.thefilmcoach.com.